And the top right-hand side, our blue Protoss player is Goblin.
Oh, wow. Big intro there for the Team Roddy boys.
Yeah, as I say, of course, Goblin on Team Roddy, and maybe that's why the band's going wild. Who isn't a fan of Team Roddy?
Yeah. Jack Black apparently is a fan of Team Roddy, judging by that intro. School of Rock over here. And we have a pretty quick potential Nexus here from Goblin. Wow.
Nexus first, already making it weird, you know? So we don't really see Nexus first much nowadays. Obviously, it kind of puts you in that spot where your Cybercore and your Gateway ends up a little bit later on, so your Cybercore's a bit later. That can affect some of your timings. And generally, the Protoss players prefer their timings over the boost of a Nexus first economy. So that's going to be already Goblin making it weird. And I would say from this, the most likely thing to see would probably be Goblin saying, hey, let's go into 2 Stargates and make like a bunch of Phoenix or something like that.
Yeah, I really love this. You know why, Wardy? Because I think that Elazer is the type of player that may look at something like this and just play the same exact game anyway, like his exact same solid game, you know, make 4 to 6 links or whatever that he would hold the Adepts with. The Adepts are not going to show up on the side of Goblin, but that may not change things too much. And on the other side, he's going to sneak out a few more probes early on, so it'll net him a stronger economical position heading into later in the game. Of course, this would have netted him a plain loss if Elazer said had been going for a 12 pool, but unlikely on a map this large.
I think just unlikely that Elazer does that given the circumstances as well, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, he doesn't want to lose here. And if Goblin just scouts and you're going 12 pool, then you're not having a good time. So, yeah, definitely a bit of a risk, but a well thought out risk, I think, from Goblin. As he does make the Zealot as well, and so he lets that finish up, so still playing pretty safe off the back of this Nexus first.
Yeah, I'm really loving it. The Stalker is going to be there to deny information, in spite of him going for a Stargate, which is a little bit surprising. The Stargate not particularly well tucked in, so it looks like the Overlord might have a chance at spotting it. Oh, never mind.
Overlord's going to turn back around. Don't think that's too much of an issue here. I mean, I guess especially against a Stargate, right? It's one of those things which generally reveals itself pretty quickly anyway. So, yeah, we'll see where Goblin goes with the Stargate, because obviously there are a few different options. You can go Oracles. You can just start Phoenix from the start if you want to play really weird. And obviously even then, there's so much in terms of like 1 Oracle, 2 Oracle, or 3 Oracle to make a decision on as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Oracle more than likely, because the Stalker is already zoning out the Overlord. So normally when there is a Stalker, it's because you won't have the Phoenix, right? So this is already another mind game on the side of Goblin, where Stargate is the thing that Elazer might expect the least. However, Elazer has very good map vision, and this is going to be crucial throughout the entire series. Against a player tricky like Goblin, you need to have spotters. Look at that, beautiful. Watchtower and 2 links patrolling. So he may catch this Oracle. I'll say 50-50. If he doesn't, this could be great for Goblin.
He's going to go into that second Stargate, and Phoenix is a follow-up to this as well, though. So this is where it gets difficult for Elazer to really read what's going on, because now he's going to lose the Overlord. It looks Oracle focused, right? But then you don't know what the follow-up is. You have very little scouting information, and so the Phoenix, wow, it's going to be triple Stargate Phoenix. So Goblin's going to hardcore commit, and then eventually hope to add on a Fleet Beacon into carriers. This is the kind of thing that a big Corrupted timing, or even just kind of a big Hydra timing, can absolutely just kill off right away if Elazer figures it out soon enough.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, the build a little bit inconsistent, but it's crazy enough that I don't mind, right? Because you made the Oracle. I feel like you went through such lengths to hide the fact that it's an Oracle. Elazer only started Spores when he actually saw the Oracle, which is already late if he had taken a different path. But to his credit, Elazer would have likely spotted him with one of his Zerglings anyway. We'll see if this Oracle does much more than a tag.
Yeah.
Not for the time being.
Obviously, I think it's pretty important you keep the Oracle alive here, so Goblin doesn't want to go diving into mineral lines, especially when you're 2-shotting workers. It, means you have to stick around there for a long time. Love this counterattack from Elazer. It even just focuses down the Nexus, so that's going to be a cancel. Already Goblin's third, not going to be coming up at the time he wanted to.
Yeah, he's pulling back the Oracle to try and establish that third base, but really nice moves by Elazer. Good cancel on the pylon by Goblin, just to make sure that he doesn't lose that extra structure. And the Oracle is actually going to show up. and finish cleaning up so that he can establish that base. Elazer did see a Phoenix, which Goblin went through great lengths to hide, right? So Elazer has to be a little bit wary here. And this is why I didn't mind that the Oracle was revealed, Wardy, is because, you know, it was masking all of these Phoenixes now.
Yeah. I mean, the Phoenix count's obviously just growing and now starting to move across. Elazer we'll see on the watchtower, so he gets his first real look at this. Still like the Lings. Lings are a really good answer to any sort of Phoenix play because the Phoenix are not really meant to deal with Zerglings unless they use their energy. But if you're using your energy on a lot of Lings, you're not going to have the energy to help deal with the drones or the work counter doors. So it takes away that harassment. I mean, just the Oracle left here, but more Lings keep streaming in. I mean, for the moment, the Oracle should be good to make it so that you don't actually lose the Nexus once more.
Yeah, I mean, Oracles are pretty disgusting against Lings. Only one has been able to shut things down for now. And I actually like this quite a bit for Goblin. If Elazer had continued to commit, this Oracle runs out of energy. And Goblin is preparing for that by making another 2 Oracles. But Elazer didn't commit. And that just means that, you know, he lost a lot of units, honestly, to the Oracle.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. It's a lot given up there for what real gain in the end. Really not that much. I do love that Goblin adds the extra Oracles on. He says, well, you're making so many Lings, you know, now I'm going to be able to get, you know, a cleanup on any extra. And it just gives that extra layer of safety. And it's not like he's rushing. It's not like, you know, 2 more Phoenix right now would change too much else, right? So I like that investment. And again, it really feels like Goblin so far starting to get a lot of damage done. He's going to get this Queen kill, make that a second one as well. And this is where it starts to become maybe a bit too much. As Elazer's ready to make Hydras, but I don't think he wants to make them yet because he's maybe a little afraid of them spawning like one at a time and just getting picked off by the Phoenix.
Yeah, there's so many Phoenix right now. They are doing such a great job. This Queen's in grave danger. Picks up the one with the most energy first. All of them are going to fall. 2 Spore shooting at the same time. 4 Queen flanks, though. Goblin has to be a little bit careful. Oh, my God, it's Darren. He's going to go for all of the Queens, and he's going to get him 2, Wardy.
Wow, I mean, okay, you lose quite a few Phoenix from this, but you've also got to remember the fact that now you've taken away a lot of the anti-air, right? So the future Phoenix are likely to get so much more done. Look at these Hydras just dropping one at a time. Finally, gonna push this away. 6 Phoenix lost, but he kills 2 Hydras and 9 Queens. I kind of want to believe it's still okay.
I like it because there's not going to be a lot of larva for Elazer. I think Elazer has to be wary of this. He's not remaking Queens, which is, I think, that he really needs to do. I mean, if I were him, I would drop an extra base too.
Yeah, 0 Queens on the map. That's actually huge. It also makes Goblin very safe in case this was an attempt of playing like a big ground burst. Because now you don't have the injects to really support a big attack across the map as Elazer.
Still no Queens in production, Wardy. This is what I was talking about. Elazer wants to play his game well in his game. Usually 9 Queens don't just die. So I don't know what he's doing, but okay, finally 3 Queens in production. But this is going to bite him. He really needs to realize that he's going to be running low on larva, that he's going to be banking up resources unless he can get another base situated soon.
I gotta say, I kind of like that Goblin added on the Twilight Council before the Fleet Beacon. Because I actually thought he was going to go Temple Archives and storm against the Hydras, but even just charge is a good addition at this point. Just something to fight that Hydra army off with, right? Because if it does push, you don't really have much right away. And if you're going to go Fleet Beacon and Carriers, it takes a long time to set those up. So I like the addition of some ground army to help you get there.
Yeah, really nice. Beautiful game that Goblin is playing and representing Team Roddy as best as he possibly can as well. I'm sure Roddy is watching proudly. He's doing great. I really like his position so far. He needs a 4th soon, though, I think.
Yeah, the 4th base might be the tricky part until he gets more on the ground, right? Because then it's a little bit further forward. So he's going to take it now. But if those Hydras get across, it's less distance for them to go. How do you go across the map when these Phoenix are here, though? It's just an Overlord and 4 more drones. And yeah, the Phoenix don't want to use all of their energy because, of course, you want to keep some in case the Hydras...
Oh, these are expensive, though. Oh yeah, my God, those units are so... That's 600 resources just dumped for absolutely nothing, right? So that is gigantic. And we see Elazer. I mean, he's floating 800 resources. We talked about this, right? Luckily for him, so is Goblin. He really needs to establish that 4th. And like you said, with this Phoenix, I think he has map control. I think he can just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, he went for it, right? But the Lings canceled it. So that was one of the issues with the ground army. So
the Oracles. There's like a million Oracles.
Yeah, you know, I'm totally with you, right? There's definitely stuff up that Lings shouldn't be canceling the forward base.
Oh, this Banelings got canceled, and now this is a scary force for Elazer, and where all of his money is at. I mean, if Elazer loses this attack, it is so dangerous. It's so dangerous already to move up against this many Phoenixes with the amount of Hydras that he has. carriers are going to be incredible against Hydras. Will they be out in time? I mean, there's 3 of them already. Enough? I think so.
Yeah, it's tough to say, right? Because I feel like 3 carriers is kind of like the weak point still. Just because the interceptors, once they go down, there's not much else, and there's just not much support to get rid of the Hydras.
I don't know. You will say that, but like the Phoenix and the Oracles?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. The Oracles are something I wasn't thinking about, I won't lie. But with the Oracles, maybe it is very one-sided. Let's see as the Hydras are trying to fight.
That's game.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's good enough. Wow.
20 probes did go down during that. The Banelings did do their job at least. So things will kind of stabilize. Elazer, big props to him for somehow spending his money regardless of not having any queens for a while there. He has, for the most part, managed to stabilize on that front, but my god, is Goblin ahead, I think. Oh, nice ram by, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you need to be doing right now as a Elazer. You need to buy time, try and kill more probes, stop Goblins from getting into a better position, and, well, these carriers are still coming across the map. He sent the Oracles back home. I don't think you fight into these 4 crawlers with just the carriers.
It's only 3. It does feel bad. The counterattack just did so much. I mean, Elazer just clawing his way back into this game in the last 30 seconds. Killed a lot of probes, denies mining, and shoos the army back of Goblin. So nothing accomplished for him on the other side of the map.
I think just want to run in once again, but the carriers are there. The interceptors push the links back through the top side. Elazer is making that tech switch up into Infestation Pit. So he's now getting himself a chance to get into something a little bit extra alongside the Hydras. I think that's necessary as the carrier count rises up. The Goblin's doing the same. He's putting a Templar Archives down, and Storm is going to be huge here. You know, that's just a real game changer in itself. Being able to get rid of those Hydras even more easily once again. It's going to be good against the Ling Bane that's been trying to roll in. Yeah, I love what Goblin is doing once again.
Yeah, but huge props to Elazer. And now with that base, with the Ridge Vesting Geyser as well, he's clawing his way back into a game that's so very difficult. I mean, I personally, Wordy, I've played a lot of games. If my Hydra all-in fails against carriers, I'm usually probably very dead. So great job by him. It's Storm coming up too.
Completely right. Usually you're dead if that happens. It's an all-in for a reason. And Elazer being able to transition out of it so far, I feel like so much of that comes back to those 20 probes and the denial of the 4th base so many times. You know, if Goblin holds on 4 bases, amazing spot. If Goblin holds with 20 more probes, he's probably overwhelming Elazer as we speak. But the fact that it wasn't, you know, either of those up and running, maybe it's just allowed Elazer to lengthen his time in this game and get those infestors out, and maybe that can change the next fight.
Yeah, and that's just the thing for Goblin, right? Like, you look at his 3rd, you look at his 4th, they look so exposed. Like, there's no shield batteries, no cannons, no fortified positions with gateways or anything that would slow down the trickle of these units. And Elazer has had a relatively easy time breaking into these positions. Of course, a lot of that is because of the triple Stargate and the fact that, you know, he doesn't need that much ground.
Yeah, the Phoenix getting in here for 8 more drones. I love the neural parasites as well for the infestors, so other options to help fight this.
Yeah, it looks like he might want to go for a what is that spell called?
The neurals?
No, the spell that is never used.
Shroud?
We might just see it here. I mean, Neural is not done, and there's carriers. I think he's trying to hit a Microbial Shroud timing before Storm. Storm is nearly done, though.
Storm is done now, right? And problem is with Microbial Shroud, he drops it, but now the Hydras have to sit in it, which means you can just storm the Shroud, and then they have to move out. So then it kind of loses the whole point of this is why Microbial Shroud is kind of laughed about a little bit, because you actually have to sit in it. That's why I forget about the name. Yeah. Yep. Not great.
I mean, you look at the situation and it's obvious, right? This is a Microbial Shroud timing because it's all that it can be. But yeah, Microbial Shroud is pretty underwhelming, especially once Storm is out. Elazer is has probably already found that out a few times, but he's gonna find that out one more time here in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it. Honestly, with the neural parasite in production, I kind of thought you'd just wait a little bit instead of committing in there for the neurals. I think I would have liked that more. I mean, obviously easy to say after this attack just completely flops, but I didn't see any potential in this attack at the start. And
that's because he doesn't know about the Storm. I think because the transition was straight into Stargates, Elazer thought I can hit before Storm, and that would have been great trades.
I feel like this is such a late Storm anyway. I know he's not seen Storm before now, but I feel like if you're just relying on him still not having Storm, for me, it's too late for that, you know? That's all. I mean, again, Elazer's in a tough spot, so maybe he feels like he has to make something happen, and he kind of did. So in that regard, I don't mind it as much.
Exactly. So difficult now to transition to Corruptors, right? A Corruptor Viper, it seems so out of the possibility realm, really, right? Like he did get shut down on that all-in, so he has kind of justifiably so committed to the same army compound while the supplies are close. I mean, it's not the type of army that you want to fight the Golden Armada with.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is Goblin's army has been getting better and better while leading on supply, and Elazer's army is kind of the same. The biggest thing is the Infestors being the addition. If he can get some Neurals off here, he could Neural a High Templar, Storm, and maybe Feedbacks, that'd be sick.
I don't think there's observers. The army gets tagged, but Goblin doesn't see the Infestors. I mean, this is huge. There is no observer still inside. Yeah, there's no robo. Wow.
This is where you're meant to have the Oracles, kind of still. And he does have them. Obviously, it's hard to hit the Revelations initially, but you kind of want to keep the Revelations on those Infestors all the time. But it's hard to do that now because Revelation lasts less time. You can spam it more often because it's less energy, but it lasts half as long as well, so it's hard to continuously track portions of the Zerg army like that.
Yeah, I think a robo is kind of necessary at some point, but the Oracles are gonna find a great opening. A lot of the dronage for Elazer is gonna go down the drain. Oh, the Oracles died though.
Yeah, 14 drones. He hits the Revelation on half the Hydras. That's not really what you want to be watching for. It's the Infestors that are the scariest part of this. Yeah, 14
Yeah, like
drones,
you mentioned, with half the amount of time on Revelation, I'm not sure that... well, I guess you have enough energy to spare at this point on the Oracle, so maybe not much of a decision to make. You just see an army and tag it. But it's the Infestors that you really wanna find, like you were mentioning.
Yeah, those are the biggest threat, right? You can roughly know where the Hydras are going to be. If the Infestors flank you and they get the Neurals off, that can be, you know, fight-changing, game-changing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even now, there's only, what, like 5 Templars in this army, right? If Elazer catches wind of the fact that there's no observer and kind of flanks with the Infestors, gets all 5 Templar at once, you know, Fungal Storm, and you can definitely win that.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the way I think Elazer's got to try and win this game, but I feel like with every passing second, it becomes less and less hopeful. Goblin is making a good bid for this base on the 12 o'clock position. You know, on the map elsewhere, Elazer's got 5 bases, looking pretty good. He's down a bit of army supply at the moment. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, Elazer has good bases, but Goblin has the same amount, and that's just not going to be enough for Elazer. Great Aspire on the way. Why? You need Corruptors, you know, save your gas on the Great Aspire. Build Corruptors and just Corruptors. Broodlords are not really a thing I think you should be thinking about at all right now.
Yeah, he wants something to zone out the Templars because it's so difficult to engage with Corruptors against the Templar. But yeah, I agree. I think right now maybe Corruptor Viper and look to chip away at an army. Maybe sit back defensively, but this is such a difficult position for Elazer because this army is just not going to scale defensively or aggressively. So he's trying to kind of dump it, and I mean, it will get dumped.
Hydras get up. The ramp is going to try and fight. I mean, this is awful, right? Elazer's going to get chased down because if you go through the left side, the carriers can kind of cut the corner and they can just get the interceptors off again. So you're just killing a lot of Hydras during this. And the High Templar are going to get here maybe to make the same play. Elazer has no.
Oh, what a storm flank.
It now.
Oh, nice.
Nice dodge. He had a burrowed Ling that saw the High Templar, so you did see it just at the end. But even still, so many Hydras going down.
Yeah, and I mean, to some degree, you want a better army quality, but you don't really have the economy. You don't really have the money to substantiate that. So the Hydras have to be pretty sad if they're oh whoa, what did he just recall to? Oh wow.
Yeah, he just recalled over here with the carriers. So he just completely switched direction of the attack right there. And now he's getting a pretty good fight. He yoinks the mothership, but the mothership's already done okay. A couple of Neurals going off, and there's just no way to see those Infestors. He needs to start storming, and there we go. He is going to start getting the kills, and as the Neurals fade away, this is going to be a very one-sided fight in favor of Goblin, who honestly could probably stick around and keep on fighting. He's been very cautious by backing off, letting Interceptors rebuild, but it just doesn't matter. Goblin's got enough. He's going to take game 1, and he's going to go up in this best of 3.
Yeah, and that's gotta be really scary, nerve-wracking if you're Elazer. What a game from Goblin. He did all the things that he needed to do. He was confusing. He was a trickster. He played a really smart game, and it showed.
Absolutely. Really fantastic stuff there. And yeah, he absolutely, Elazer should be sweating a little bit right now. This is really, really scary for him. You know, sort of, I just double checked the scores and sort of is already 1-0 up against Art. So there's that world of possibility where Elazer doesn't get out of this group. And that is actually crazy. If Elazer doesn't get out of this group, that's probably the biggest upset of this event. You know, we've had a couple players kind of making it through where we're like, oh, that's cool. And, you know, some players that were 50-50, but Elazer not going out of the group, like, that's... I would have never predicted that in ever can't say my words. Wouldn't have ever predicted that. It's so unknown to me that I can't even speak about it, right? Like,
yeah, and yet crazy. in this universe and at this point in time, what would you say the chances are that happens, Wordy? Like, guesstimate.
Honestly, I mean, it looks like Sotov's going to pull off the win. So you have to basically 2-0 Goblin right now as a Elazer. Yep. I honestly say there's like maybe like a 40% chance that he would 2-0 Goblin at the moment.
Really? Okay, I was going to go with 50-50, I think.
50-50? I feel like 50-50 is pretty fair as well, but I feel like if he had to like 2-0 Goblin from 0-0, I'd say 50-50, right?
But now he's...
But now he's down a game. Now I think it's a little bit of a map thing, right? You lose one of your maps. The pressure's really building as well. I think those are kind of why. But yeah, I think 50-50 to 60-40 is a pretty fair guesstimate.
Yeah. Elazer said, I can't believe I got baited into playing Microbial Shroud timing.
I can't either. You know, I really just didn't believe in it when he was building Neural. I thought maybe he's like pushing across the map to be scary and buy time for Neural, but he'll just back away. But you called it. You said he's going to Microbial Shroud. I was like, really? And he did. I was like, oh, he did. Like, yeah. You just don't ever see that. Even against this style, people stop doing it because they just realize it's just not really good. Like, just a straight up Hydra time is oftentimes better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can see the process. I have once won a game with Microbial Shroud, so you know, I have been in a position where I'm like, if he doesn't have Storm and I have Hydras and Microbial Shroud, and he stands in his position instead of retreating, maybe I can win, and maybe you can corner your opponent, and that can happen. But I mean, Storm was out. That's kind of just, you know, you just kind of
yeah, the Storm.
You just kind of know it's a sealed fate.
Yeah, Storm's just a deal breaker, right? As soon as Storm is there, it's just like, it's just not good. Like, it really, really is. And it's up in the top right-hand side of the map. On Everdream down a map is Elazer.
And the bottom left-hand side, the Storm that's trying to stop him, it's Goblin.
Kind of exciting times, man. This really would be a huge upset, and it would really go to show just how much it mattered that Elazer had a rough start to this group, because I feel like there was a lot of, you know, there's a rough start, and then people were like, well, you know, Elazer can bounce back, and I was very much so a believer in that as well. But yeah, you know, you have a rough start, and then there's really zero room for error, and yet here you are, perhaps he's still, you know, potentially still making those errors down in the final map of the group.
Absolutely. Now it's Goblin who's going to play somewhat cautiously, going for that Nexus after the gateway, the more traditional way. So more likely to see a more traditional follow-up, which I got to say, I don't like.
Yeah, I liked it being a bit weird and wonderful, but I think Everdream's a bit too tough for Nexus first.
True. But why? Do you think he's going to all-in you or like 12 pull you? Not Elazer, not in this game, right? Very unlikely with the tournament on his...
I wonder how it just works in terms of certain timings, and then maybe like a Roach Ravager Queen Walk or so could be good on this map. That would be my biggest fear, rather than like a straight up 12 pool. And then, yeah, like I say, maybe it just depends on what style Goblin wants to play on the tech, right? Because then certain styles just don't really benefit from Nexus first.
Yeah, this time around he's gonna Chrono Boost an Adept, so a little bit less sneaky on that front. But this makes more sense given that the gateway is earlier, so he's gonna try to get some more value out of that. He did not block the hatchery of the Elazer. So, I mean, this game already feels like a lot more in the Elazer's comfort zone. Kind of like what he's trained for, right? Like Elazer is Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like this much for Goblin as it is.
No, I
trick him.
I totally get you, right? It's like Goblin's playing straight up when you expect Elazer to be the favorite in a straight up game, but at the same time, you know, playing straight up might be the one thing that Goblin is really, you know, that Elazer really isn't expecting Goblin to do. So if that maybe makes him make a couple of wrong decisions, that could have an impact as well.
Blink,
okay,
blue.
there you go. That's the one way to change it up as well, right? We have seen Goblin on this map. He's actually done this in the qualifiers against Nurture. I think in another match of the group stages where he goes for the 7-gate blink call in.
All right, I like it. Will he show more adepts? Is it just the one for now? I mean, he opened Stalker last time, and it obviously didn't go into a blink all in. So foreshadowing a little bit there that it could be anything, right? Last time he went Stalker into Stargate. So the Stalker is not telling of anything here on the side of Elazer. Oh, this adept! He could have shaded.
Yeah, and you would have got maybe a couple drones, but the thing is, with one adept, you're not one-shotting, right? So then there's so much time to build spore crawlers and stuff, and I think at that point, it's not really worth the adept. And also, by keeping the adept alive, it sort of sells this as potentially still being glaives, because you're really babysitting the adept. If you commit the adept in, it kind of takes away that as an option, because every adept is so important in a glaives build, so it might just make it more obvious to Elazer what this is.
Yeah, and there's a Roach Warren, which is what you want to see if you're Goblin. Elazer kind of preparing for the potential for adepts more than anything else, right? There is a very strange upgrade here, though, Wordy.
Yeah, it's a fake out, right? He's building +1 weapons to try and say, hey, look at me, I'm going my Stargate build. Yeah, don't you go building roaches. 2 Stalkers, though, is a bit weird, especially if you're playing a Stargate, because 1 Stalker's like, okay, you're trying to hide it. 2 is like, what are you doing? So
maybe
I
triple
don't really
Stargate.
think
Maybe you're really trying to hide it.
Yeah, but now he sees the Warp Prism, right? So now this should be a big tell. And now Goblin really should cancel that upgrade and spend his money on more Stalkers.
Yeah, Elazer is going to be comfortable making some links, mixing in some roaches at the moment. Yeah, this upgrade definitely wants to be canceled. I mean, it's going to get spotted once again.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right, that he's still building it. I wonder if, like, how much of it is a fake and how much has he just forgotten that he was faking it in a way? Is these Stalkers stop by getting a queen kill, by the way? That's not a bad start at all. He needs to keep these Stalkers alive, though. Obviously, he has the blink. I did feel like he took a little bit of unnecessary damage there.
I would almost love a shield battery there or 2. Just to blink back to siege that 3rd. That would be pretty cool. Do people do that, Wardy? You must have seen it all.
Yeah, literally never.
Really?
I think it'd be a cool idea, but then you've got to keep the prism kind of there all the time to power it, or you build a pylon, but it's kind of a big investment where it's just such a big investment when you kind of need to go all out, straight away, basically.
True that. Big attempt at breaking in.
I mean, that's really nice because it's forcing warp-ins of Goblin back at home, and the last thing you want to do is be splitting up this army. You kind of want everything right here and fighting, and he gets off trip. Elazer continues to chase. Well, I'm not too sure about the continued chase, but it works out. The problem is, as soon as the lings go down, if Roaches and Ravagers are being chased by Stalkers, you're going to get some of those kills. So that is potentially even blinks in for the Ravagers.
A daring blink. Elazer had to have been expecting it, but he wasn't, so I guess he wasn't. Oh my god, these links are doing too much. The Wardy, 3 probes, 4 probes. Great target firing on the exit by Elazer. Will finally get trapped. Nice block by Goblin, but a little bit late.
Yeah, really nicely done as the Roaches and the Lings in this 3rd base. Just waiting out for more units. And again, I just think you lose some probes at home. You force so many warps at home. And the Goblin just can't really fight that. He just doesn't have the power. And the Elazer was never fooled as well, right? So he always had a good setup, but now there's still Lings in this base, and this is devastating for Goblin.
Yeah, this really shouldn't be happening. Goblin trying to make something happen on the other side of the map. To his, not credit, but whatever it is, he still has a lot of money to spend. So this attack is not out of fuel just yet. And he's trading decently on this front at least. So the big problem has been the counterattacks. Economically is where he's going to continue to fall behind. But these trades are great for Goblin.
Yeah, they're good. But are they good enough? He's down 12 workers. The Lings are still streaming in after him. I mean, the slow Roaches obviously look a little bit funny chasing across the map. And it just is a sign of how well-positioned Elazer feels like he is. He's actually going to have these Lings on the low ground too. He's going to force a recall. He's going to get a couple of extra Stalker kills before they recall as well. And now it's going to be Elazer on the front door of Goblin. And this just feels very difficult to really hold on against this Goblin. And even if you hold on, Elazer's in a pretty good spot.
I don't know, Wardy. I feel like he's not in that great of a spot. Like, he only has roaches and lynx. He doesn't have a lair. Goblin has, I mean, he doesn't have complexity himself, but this Stalker army is very microable, and as it scales, as you get a huge ball of Stalkers, it becomes kind of difficult to trade against it for a very basic army without fungal, without something to hold it in place.
I would have liked Elazer to go into a lair and get roach speed at least. I think that would have been a good decision here somewhere along the way. And so I like that he doesn't commit in. No, I'm with you. It's definitely scary. I mean, there's a lot of Stalkers now showing up on this third base. There's Elazer. He has got, once again, though, those Lynx counterattacking, so something else to keep in mind.
Yeah, he's taking 3 pot shots. Great battery overcharge. I don't know about this massive blink, but it's good enough. I mean, he doesn't really have enough links to get a full surround Elazer. It's really dangerous for him. And Goblin has been doing a fantastic job here zoning. I think he's in control of his game, actually, Wardy. I would favor him over Elazer at this point.
Okay, I mean, I like that Goblin moves around and kills a couple of Overlords, because it feels like that's really some options. Finally, that last starts from Elazer. I do feel like he's been safe enough to build the Lara points before now, so yeah, I like that coming into play. I definitely think it's an addition that's needed. Got to remember that Goblin is continuing to mine, though, and he's going to be mining out his main and natural as time goes by, and that's the power of Elazer having 3 bases.
I mean, he technically has 3 bases, but look at the situation, right? Like, the first 2 drones in a while have just been made by Elazer, who barely has any more workers than Goblin, and Goblin has traded much more efficiently with this Blink Stalker. So let's see if he can continue to keep that up. I like what he has been doing. I think this is a deadly attack if he can micro well.
Thinks back again. There's just so many Zerglings, right? And that's part of the issue. The Lynx on the bottom side starting to get us around. Another blink, and once more, Goblin has to just keep on running. But is it right for Elazer to keep on chasing here?
I don't know. It's very difficult to say. I think Goblin could use those minerals as well to his advantage. I think he could be blinking a lot better, to be honest, like 1 unit at a time and whatnot, or at least in chunks of 3, right? He seems to be blinking a lot of units at the same time when he can maybe get a little bit more damage. And wow, that is a great aggressive blink. Risky, but I like it.
Yeah, it gets 2 Ravagers, and that's really nice. Ravagers, very expensive. Something that Elazer never really built a lot more of, honestly, as we kind of went through this. Lynx trying to run in there. The Stalker's going to hold their ground for the moment, and Queen's dropping some transfusions as those Queens will get pretty low. Stalker's doing a good job trading out with them.
This is what I want to see. Goblin positioned on choke where the Lynx can't get too much surface, and then just blink Stalkers 1 at a time. Just continue to trade, go in and retreat into the arc. He's doing fantastic here. The Link counter attack by Elazer attempting to do something, but these Lynx are so good at soaking Stalker shots that it's also biting him on the other side.
I feel like the real difference right now is there's less Lings available for the Elazer, and so these Stalkers are really trading against Roaches, and I think that's way better for him as Goblin is also microing some Stalkers back 1 at a time. It's one of the things you mentioned, right? That he wasn't really doing before, and I think that's really helped him to stay at the front and help out. He's now about to play against Roach Street, though, and the Link count got back up. We're about to have +1 melee as well in the near future, so more concerns perhaps here for Goblin is, where are the Lings though? They're not here just yet, only a few of them, so Roach are dropping once more. Has to move that Prism out of warping mode in case of the corrosive files though.
Big concave here. I think he can afford to maybe micro, but he is so cautious right now, Goblin. I feel like I'm getting flashbacks of that Skillless game where he's just really not committing. And I mean, as long as Elazer is unable to further transition, this is not bad, right? Like the dynamics are not going to change that much. But Ravagers are going to start becoming a problem for him. Yeah. I mean, this is getting a little bit more difficult as the army complexity, improves for Elazer.
I love the extra Ravagers. Definitely think it helps. Now we got a Bane Nest on the way as well. Elazer affording all of this. He's got Lings that are going to loop around from the backside as well. If you get us around and Corrosive Files line, that is huge. Goblin sees it, so he can kind of change direction. And he should just go for a big blink away, I think, so he can kind of get out of range of Ravagers.
I think Goblin can chase right now. I think Goblin could maybe pick off another few units on the retreat. I mean, he's going to be cautious about the Lynx, but those Lynx, without that surprise element coming from behind, they're going to take taxes every time they engage, right? Before they reach the Stalkers, they're all going to get shot once or twice.
The big issue is obviously those Corrosive Files. You can see Goblin dancing around them. He's losing so much kind of attack time because he's dancing, and now he's getting split up a little bit as well, which is a little bit more difficult. However, he's going to win the fight on the top side. This means he's getting overrun on the bottom, but maybe he can bring those Stalkers around and surround.
Yeah, he can almost blink forward, I think, at this point. The Queens are having to be brought to the fight. And I mean, these Ravagers without support are so exposed. They're so weak units. I think Goblin needs to go and capitalize on it. I like it. I like that he's standing his ground now, fighting. He can blink forward.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of kills here, right? I mean, these Ravagers try and cross the file again, but their numbers are definitely thinning out. He's still trading well, a Goblin, on the top side of this fight. Now he blinks in to go for the Ravagers. He thinks he can kill them, but there are some links showing up, but all the Ravagers are going to go down.
I think he's done it. I think he's pulled the upset. And oh my god, he's eliminated Elazer.
He has.
It's looking like it.
He's done it. Oh my goodness, he gets it in the end. A few more links still streaming in, but all the Ravagers are dead. Elazer has basically nothing left. GG. Elazer's